Hey, girl.
Hey Connie, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Oh, Connie, it's been a day, but I'm excited to be here.
Has it been a day? We're gonna talk about it today. That's what we is gonna do here on this call. So, first, one, I want to say thank you for coming. I know your life is on the road these days. I feel you, baby. So
Yeah.
I thank you for making the time to be able to come on. We had Tanya on earlier, so I know she's rocking and rolling. So I'm blessed to be surrounded by amazing entrepreneurs that make sure that they have time to be able to have these kind of conversations with those that may not be privy to hear this information otherwise. So we'll do some housekeeping to start. Again, if you have questions, they go into the question box. There's a question mark at the bottom of it. If it's in the comments, we're not going to answer it because it's going to go by really quickly. Also on the recording, which we're going to have on the page after, we want to make sure that people can see the questions as it goes across the screen. So just make sure you put those questions into the box. So, introduction. I am Connie S. Falls, the S is for systems. For the last 13 years, I've been helping entrepreneurs create creative systems and policies, processes, and procedures to help their businesses grow and scale. This is my love and passion, helping women, minorities, and veterans create businesses that aren't just hobbies, but there's something that you can literally actually pass down to your children, children's children, and children's children's children. So that's literally my goal. But the reason I created this Business and BS Live is because I really wanted people to be able to have access to the kind of conversations that I have with dope people on a regular basis. So when you don't have that kind of access, it limits your network and the kind of conversations that you're able to have. So I wanted to make sure that I opened up the network of dope people that I know to be able to talk about and answer some of the questions that you guys may have out here on these streets. So all of that to say, I have an amazing guest here.
I'm
Some
excited.
people know her as the student loan doctor because, yeah, she's amazing. And if you've ever heard the word student loan, you should absolutely know who this woman is. So, Sonia, if you could please give yourself an introduction and let people know who you are.
I'm super excited to be here. So, hi everyone. I'm CEO of the Student Loan Doctor, Sonia Lewis. And Connie, thank you so much for having me. I love your hair. So
Thank
good.
you. I appreciate it. I'm also in the woods, so that's why I'm extra natural today. So.
Oh, okay. Got it. So I am the creator and founder of a platform that is built to service others about learning about their student loan debt. So education is first and foremost for us, service is second. And then for us, really, this brand has really transformed, if you will, Butterfly into anything bigger than I could have imagined. And so I'm so grateful to be at the head of it, but I do not take full credit. I have an amazing team who people actually work with for one-on-one direct services. Now, I call it tap dancing. I come on Instagram, I laugh and joke, and I post and, ebooks, classes, but the service work is done by my amazing team of coaches. So I wanted to make sure that was stated because I'm like, I need to shout them out more. But they are the ones that are doing the work every day. It's good work.
Great work, because I'm one of your clients. So again,
Yeah.
your team has done an amazing job, and we're very grateful for you. So we're going to start the conversation like we start all of them, because I think it's when most people talk about, oh, this is how I got to where I am, it normally starts from where they came from. So tell me a little bit about Sonia growing up, because most of us only know student loan doctor. But give us a little history about how you grew up and what high school and transition into school looked like for you.
Yeah, I went to Bowdoin High School in Philadelphia, a small school known for education, love for travel. But I went to school right at 9/11, so travel kind of got cut short. So that was interesting. But it's exciting to see even the people I went to high school with the work that they're doing now. Our graduating class was like 73 people. So needless to say, we all knew each other, right? It was super small. So born and raised out of Philadelphia, and for me, I'm a product of my mom and grandmother's learning and loving and teaching, and they are college graduates. My grandmother was the first college graduate in our family, so she set the bar really high. And for her, you either went to college or the military. Now, if you didn't go to either or, you just had to leave the house. I don't know where you were going to go, Connie. I never wanted to try it.
You got to get up out of here, though.
I did take a hiatus when I was in college. I was like, oh, I think I'll take a semester off. She said, baby, where would you live? All right, well, cool. I will stay in school. So that was interesting. So I'm grateful for that. But what I will say is, while I'm excited that I had the opportunity for college, and my undergraduate was pretty much paid for through scholarships, my graduate loans were not, right? And so
What do you get the scholarships for? What was the scholarships for?
I was a scholarship connoisseur. I had so many, Connie. I had a
Oh yes, come on with us there, Sonia.
put a poster up on campus like, you should tell us about a time. I'm like, oh, let me go to the computer lab. Like, that's how on it I was. And that's because my mom got really sick when I was in high school, and we had to move in with my grandmother and live, all of us, on like 30,000, 3 people on 30,000. And my grandmother doesn't believe in any she passed, but she didn't believe in what's that called, any help, like
For
what's that,
welfare.
anything. No.
Come
So
on, Sonia, don't even know
yeah.
the word. Yes,
No,
God.
I'm not above it, but she just didn't believe in it. So I was like, Grandma, I think we were qualified for something. So I don't know what people are qualifying for. I'm like, oh, okay, well. So we just had to make do. So at an early age, when I was 16, I had to get my license. I had to work. I had 2 jobs as a senior in high school. And then when I got to college, I had 3 jobs when I was in college. So all I know how to do is hustle, and still get a scholarship, a full ride. So for me, I think I probably missed out on a little bit of things that people do in college. I did definitely still join my sorority. Probably was the most break I had there. But other than that, and outside of that, I really have had and always have had a good work ethic, and probably because of circumstances, if that makes sense. But I didn't know how to handle money. So when my grandmother passed, you know how like you have that person that's your security blanket? Like, you know, you could call if you need anything. Well, she was gone. So I was like, oh, what would happen if something happened? So now I'm like, I got to be my own support system. And then my mom, she got sick when I was 16, 17, with meningitis, lost her hearing, X, Y, and Z. So long story short, in my mind and how I am today, I always think about, I have to always have a little extra for my mom too, because she's on a very fixed income. She had to retire early at an early age as well. So for me, I've always been put in a place of having to hustle, caretake, things of that nature, just to be prepared for just in case, right? And the most important thing I learned is there's nobody going to come save me. So I don't know if anybody else has that same, aha moment, but that's what I had. So me starting the student loan doctor was birthed out of me getting my money together, me getting my own finances together. And I remember when I was calling about my loans, I remember how dumb it was that I was transferred to 4 people that could not answer anything. And so I was like, but I knew what questions to ask because that's my professional background. And I was like, but what about the person who don't know what to ask, right? So I was like, well, how about I could just help people? And it all just kind of butterflies so nicely we can get into. But I always tell people your business, your best business is solving a problem. First, I solved my own problem, and then I created something to help solve others.
Oh, that is such a word right there, because sometimes people want to solve problems that they've never had themselves. So there's no empathy there.
Right.
And they really don't know how to, because they've never had to practice that before.
Exactly. So no, I have good experience with this, and and the cool thing is the people that I work with have had experience. Now they haven't had issues with their loans or anything, but they are in the midst of paying off their loans. Actually, one of my coaches last year, she's very smart. She took her extra income from SLD. She's part-time and paid off her student loans with it. She's been with me.
That's a good testimony right there.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. So I started seeing people on my team getting cars, paying stuff off. I'm like, what's going on here? What's going on?
Oh, I can't wait to get it. We're gonna get into the team conversation, but I want to transition with the times. So in college, clearly you had the good grades, you had the scholarships, and everything is good. Did you have when did you realize that, hey, maybe I need a mentor, maybe I want to go into entrepreneurship? Where did that bud come from?
No, entrepreneurship wasn't on my horizon. I've always been good at sales because when I was 17, 18, I started working at Sears. And as a 17-year-old, I was making every 2 weeks like $1,500.
What?
Yeah, that's why I was like, I could leave college. Seriously.
Oh, you was rich.
Yeah, I felt rich. But my grandma reminded me that this series is just a job and not a career. So I was like, So I knew I had to gift the sales. When I was little, I used to take a plastic chair and put a rope around it and put a pile of leaves for liability purposes. I promise you, this is how I thought. And I would charge people $1 for a ride, and I would take that money and buy my own candy because I was sick of my mom telling me no. So I always knew that there was something a little different about me. I didn't know how to put that into words, but my mom hit me one day with, she was like, where you get this candy from? Are you stealing? I had to literally go show her my stash. I had to go show her, that's a true story. Had to go walk her and show her my setup with the rope and the pile of leaves I had put together earlier that day. So while people are out there playing, I was out there trying to get to some money at age 9. Like, does that make sense? I'm like,
Yes.
I would pay. His name was Scott. He's still my friend on Instagram. I was like, Scott, I'll give you $2. Let's get these leaves together. They're going to come out about 4. Promise you on everything, Gotti.
Yes.
I don't know what that's called, but I've always had that thing. And then when I got into the professional world, I went into more of an educational sales piece. But then I realized I really had a love for people going through the college process, because when I went through the college process, again, my mom was sick. My grandmother was old. My grandmother attention was on my mom because she was really fighting through with her life, and I had a really, really good financial aid counselor. Her name is Gail, and Gail realized my situation and that I really didn't have help but potential. And she said, well, you come to me at the start of every semester and we're going to look through these scholarships. So Gail would send me scholarships. I would meet with her, and then I would just do whatever she told me to do. Like, you probably would love that type of student, right? That doesn't give you any lip. I said, all right, Gail, I'll go type it today. And that really overfunded me. So undergrad, I didn't have a lot of loans, a little. And that's because I wanted to live real bougie in college, the high rises and stuff,
What? Well, yeah, you making $3,000 a month. I'm being a high rise too. Me
and
and Joy.
when I graduated, we had lobster, steak. I mean, it was a really good setup for college. I probably bought friends, Connie. Oh, because the other thing is, I said to my grandmother, I said, Grandma, I was like, I've been doing some research online. I said, I just feel like, I was like, Mommy should have got a check for, disability or something by now. I mean, because there wasn't no money coming in. And so I helped her, looked into that. We had to get in touch with my mom's lawyer. And then long story short, when I was in college, I got a $20,000 check. My mom got a $40,000 check. And then the money started coming in. So I already felt rich because I had scholarships.
Yeah, you were.
And then when True Religions went out and all that, and I was like, let's go to the mall. But I didn't know how to handle money. I just was grateful to have some money, because for a whole year, we had lived, all 3 of us, on $30,000, no government help. So this felt like, to me, I was like, Jesus, he heard my cry. You know what I mean? Because it was really tough. And then I just remember being up in college my first semester with only $60 to my name the whole semester, and I had a meal plan, so I had food. But we talking about like discretionary income. Like, my friends were like, well, let's just go off campus. I'm like, no, girl, I gotta study. No, Connie, I had no money. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But I was too prideful to ask for help. And my grandmother, I remember, she cussed me out. She said, why didn't you call and ask for help? And I said, no. I said, because you're already strapped at home with Mommy. Because remember, you got to get back and forth to the doctors. My mom had a trach. She had to get her hearing done. It was just I knew they didn't have the money to help me. So in any case, and that's when I took on all those jobs. They didn't know I had those jobs until like junior year or whatever. But the point is, I think it's always been inside of me that I'm going to go make it happen. Like, I don't really need a lot of people in terms of, what am I going to do? I need resources. I need knowledge. I need some encouragement, support. But when we talk about like getting to the money, I've always had it. I just get to the money differently now, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And when you could tell just by your story so far is that you have a heart to serve. Like, and that's where I feel like all of this comes together, is because if in your mind you're like, I have to make sure things happen, and I have to make sure the people that I love are okay, that translates into your clients. That translates into your relationships. So one, you have a wonderful foundation of where that came from. So now you're leaving out of college and you're like, okay, bet. I got a little change. I'm out here on the streets. I'm killing a little bit. Got a little 3 G's a month, which most people don't have, period, to this day. But so tell me what it looked like leaving school.
So leaving school, I actually had a job offer before graduating. Connie, I don't be playing. So, because again, I asked my grandmother to co-sign for me for a new car because my mom's car, it was just ran ragged those years of college back and forth on the highway. But she knew I needed a car. I had been making money since how long, so she knew I was responsible. But my grandmother had an 820 credit score.
Ooh.
She just put the ID down, honey. He said, "Let's get the car, let's wrap it up, let's clean it out." So,
Bring it out, man. Come on now.
and I told her, which I held true to my promise, I would not be behind on any payments. I will not mess up or anything. And I remember when was interviewing, I remember thinking, I don't have the luxury of trying to figure out where I'm going to work because all of my jobs were up school at this point. So I would now come home on weekends and interview. And I found a job. I technically wasn't supposed to graduate until that August or September. I was supposed to go through that summer. But what I did was Child Connie, I don't know how I unspun this. I think it's just because they love me as a person. I said, I'd like to do an internship in the city of Philadelphia because culturally, because I don't know, Connie, I done made it all up, okay? I remember my director, he laughed at me something terrible. He said, you want to be successful with whatever you do in life. He said, it sounds so good that I almost believe it. But he knew my background, and I just kept it real with him. I was like, look, I said, that car out there, I was like, I got to pay for that. I was like, my grandmother creditor's on it, but that the credit is linked to, she got the house. And I just let it all down. And I said, and I don't want to let her down. I said, if you're going to say no, let me know now, because then I got to find out some jobs between. And I said, maybe I get a job in Allentown. Like, I was really, like, what we going to do, sir? Like, and he said, no, I'm going to approve it. Just keep up on your work, but go to work. So that's what happened. So I started working before I technically had the degree. They knew it was coming as officially in August. I graduated, walked. When I got to the job, it was bad, Connie, it was bad. It taught me a lot about being ethical. They were unethical, unfortunately. I won't say where. They got closed down, but whatever. I like the people that had worked there. But it messed me up so bad, Connie. The stress gave me a TMJ, like something muscular dystrophy, like stress locks up the jaw. And I was like this to my grandma. I said, well, Grandma, I think this is because of stress. It could be because I'm sleeping under the air. And she like, what? True story. I said, but I don't want to quit. I said, I don't have another job yet, but you give me about a month, I get another job. So she said, well, what do you have in savings? So I told her, she said, I got enough with that. And because we were thinking about the car, that's really my only bill and the insurance. She said, well, if I need to float you 2 car payments, that'll give you 3 months to look for a job, but go quit tomorrow. That's what she said. Now, what's funny is I said, all right, Grandmama, well, I have an interview tomorrow. Hopefully it goes well. The lady had said to me, this is how God works. She said, I'm pretty much feeling like I'm going to give you the job without meeting you. She said, because I like talking to you. And it was a phone job. She said, just come in. Let's seal the deal. I remember, Connie, I don't know, I was turning damn near tricks. I said, listen, I'm going to go in there and wow these people, okay? And I remember I came dressed, suited and booted. I got up, I role play. I was acting like this lady looked at me like, I need the job. I need everybody to go home right now.
All the rest of y'all in this
yes.
room, y'all need to go ahead and wrap it up.
That's the only job I never gave 2 weeks notice for, because literally my jaw got unlocked 2 days after, and that was because it was the stress. That's crazy, right? So it's so funny. I know what it's like to be super stressed out of the job. I'll never be in that place again. And I know it's why it's important to even have a savings. That's why I'm very big on savings, because if everything go left and right, like how we're coming out of COVID, but when we were going into COVID, I kept it real with my team. I'm responsible for their payroll. If things go left, I can float us, boom, boom, boom. But I will give you notice by this point if you need to do whatever you need to do. Praise God. Nobody ever needed to be floated, and we actually thrived. Praise God. But I was always prepared. You just never know. And I think the problem sometimes is we always blame others, but we never hold ourselves accountable. And I learned at 2013, after my grandmother passed, can only be responsible for me. I control what happens to me. So if I got it, it's because I got it. I saved. If I don't have it, I didn't work hard enough. And I'm not above getting another job. When I was trying to get out of debt, when I was in grad school, I had 4 jobs. Yeah, I was working at the college, 2 there, professor and an advisor. And then on weekends, I did taxes. And then on some of the days after the evenings, I did Old Navy. And I had a master's. But I had to get out of debt. So that's why when Connie, people be talking to me like, I don't know if I can. And, you really can't come to me with a bunch of excuses. I'm not that girl. Like, I will listen to you. I'm gonna empathize for about 2 minutes, and then if we're not about to talk about a plan, I gotta fake like I got a phone call coming in. Yeah, because that's not good for my spirit. Yeah.
So how many minutes they got?
2. Now look at my watch.
Y'all got 2 minutes of empathy before, because if y'all are listening to this because it's a testimony, that's really what it is. If y'all hear this testimony, all these excuses are out the window. We don't play the excuse game over here on why you can't do what you're supposed to be doing.
It won't get you far. And I think sometimes when we go from victim to victor, that's where we see all of our blessings. Like, God will trust you more. And I used to be a victim. Like, I get it. I'm not judging. But like, when we going to come out of that? You know what I mean? I think sometimes when I'm working with people with their student loan debt or their debt in general, everybody wants to stay into the what happened. I want to hear about what happened, but now I got to hear about how it'll never happen again. Because if you go back, that's insanity. That's weird to me. You want to stay broke? You want to go broke again? You want to keep dealing with somebody or something that's going to put you in this place? Like, that's not me. So I get it, but I don't be getting when people stay in a situation when we always have a choice. I didn't say choices are easy, but we have choices. So I don't know, Connie.
Where do you think that comes from, where excuses are easier?
Well, I think a lot of times we don't have people in our lives that hold us accountable since we were children. So I'm really grateful that I had the upbringing that I had, because it led to being accountable. Whether something went right or something went wrong, I had to answer for that. And a lot of times, unfortunately, we don't have people that hold us accountable because they're not used to being accountable. And then mediocrity is a disease. Okay.
Oh, somebody put that in the comments.
Yeah,
somebody put that in the comments for these gems. Mediocrity is a disease.
It is, and it affects our community. It affects and the problem is you got to first acknowledge that you're being mediocre, because I really believe that everybody has a certain gift or talent. Yeah, you could have had a hardship or a hard life growing up, but we got too many examples, particularly in our community, the African American community, that people have overcome. You know what I mean? And so you got to decide if you're going to overcome or you're going to keep complaining. And are you going to get out your environment? Are you going to get uncomfortable? And then the thing is, when you get out, you got to set the next generation up. Don't set your children up to repeat what you just got out of. That's weird. So I say to parents all the time when they're working through student loan debt, just had a question. How are we preventing your kids from being here in about 15 years? Yeah. Nobody has answers to that just yet, right? So that's the type of things that we have to move forward with. So sometimes, Connie, it's not even just about entrepreneurship. It's about creating avenues and streams and lanes to where we don't ever have to be in this position again. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
You know it to be true.
Absolutely. I hope y'all taking notes on this, because I can't wait to ask my favorite question, because I interviewed maybe 2-3 years ago. Might have been more than that.
Yep.
Yeah, it was some time ago, and you said something that hurt my feelings and many other people's feelings, but I'm gonna wait on that because I don't want people to get off the live just yet with the feeling of judgment that's about to be on them. So let's talk about the transition. When did the light come on for the student loan doctor? Because that went from being a cool idea and something you just wanted to help people do to being like a real life-changing experience for so many people across the U.S.
When I got invited to the White House in 2016, Obama's administration, I remember leaving the White House thinking, well, never going to go back to normal. Like, never going to not be able to experience this. My brain can never go back to not knowing what it's like to be in the White House and smell the White House and just be in the presence of and be valued for your gift. I wasn't there as a counselor working for the college. I was there as Sonia, a brand and an entity. And I remember my prayer was, oh God, what do I got to do to continue this? Because I think this is what you want me to be. You have put me here for exposure on purpose.
Clearly.
That was the turning point. And then I really started to take it serious at that point. And then when I started to take it serious, I started counting those numbers real serious too. And then I started opening up hours. Now I'm working weekends. And I remember I got it to a point for at least 6 months where I was making more than I was making at work. And I remember saying to my mom, because me and my mom at this point, I said, Mom, if I go full throttle and leave my job, but let's just say something don't work, would I be able to come home?
Come back over here. Can I still come back over here? That's
Yeah,
cool.
homeless. Can I come home?
Yeah.
And she said, now this is good because Janet don't say this about nothing. She said, yeah, she said you can definitely come back. She said you're doing this. You got yourself a little office, and she said you think the money is there. I said I had the reports in my bag. I said yeah. I said because you can see here on average. So, long story short, she well, one, I never had to move back home. Praise God. Two, nothing got repoed. And that's because I would work, Connie, and I still have a work ethic like that from 10 a.m. to midnight in the office. 10 a.m. to midnight, 10 a.m. to midnight. I don't really remember 2016 to 17 having any days off. I really don't. 17, I started to come out in the world like, what y'all
What
doing?
y'all what y'all doing out here?
At 18, I was able to come back from the business a little bit because of the glow up. And 19, I was intentional about enjoying my life. And now 20, I don't know what's going on with COVID, but I'm still going to enjoy my life because I don't know what's going on out here. But yeah, but that was the transition I had to make.
So why the student loan doctor? Why that name?
Well, I was helping people with student loans, and I remember thinking, if you heard this name, you were probably thinking, yeah, my loans need a doctor too. I
Come
met
on,
a girl
God.
named Tamara, and she is called the business doctor. We had so much in common. And I asked her, which I think people don't do enough of these days. I said, would you mind? 'Cause I took a social media class with her. I said, if I called myself the student loan doctor, I said, because I like how you capitalize it on the business doctor. And she said, well, I appreciate you asking. She said, I don't care. Then, that was fine. But at least I asked her, because some people just be trying to be the student loan nurses. Like, like really,
Stop it.
No, I don't know if anybody's really trying to be that or not. But that's just how close in comparison people are trying to do it these days. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so I did ask her for that. So that's how that name came about. I'm not that deep, Connie. I just wanted people to know when they heard it if they needed help. Yeah.
Because that was my thought the first time I heard it. I was like, student loan doctor? Yeah, my student loans hurt. They hurt me right now. God damn. Well, what's her name? Sonia? Yeah, can you get her a number over to?
Right.
Because we feel like burdened by that.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on just student loans in general? I'll let you rant on student loans, and then I'm gonna ask you a specific question after that.
Necessary evil. I do think that they're necessary evil. I think that they are something that our community needs because we don't do good proper planning. But I think we can eradicate student loan debt with planning, saving, making good decisions around education. So literally we just need strategy. That's what it comes down to. But I really hate when I see people with having to have had taken out private loans. Private loans are just a symptom of, and I'm sorry if I want to hurt anybody's feelings, but it's just keeping up with the Joneses education wise. You don't have to have a private loan. You chose to go to a school that called for a private loan. We have so many good community colleges and state colleges that we have to stop overlooking. And most millionaires graduate from state colleges anyway. Private loan debt is really just a symptom of, I wanted to go here because X, Y, Z. If you can't go to that school on a scholarship, a merit scholarship, or a grant, you don't need to go. Because now you're setting yourself back, because private loan is way different of a beast than federal loans. And, and I know somebody's listening like, well, where was she at when I was deciding?
All of us are saying that,
Yeah.
Sonia.
So hopefully we can break that stigma for our children. Like, if you know what it feels like to be battling private loan debt, then let's not put our children through the same thing. But you be surprised, I literally had talked to a mom a few months ago. I said, well, why are we sending her? I think it was Clark Alinda. And I said, and you're about to refinance your house and take a private loan for 4 years of college? Are you kidding me? I said, I would rather you use that money and refinance your home to help your child get a house. You know what I'm saying? Something with some assets. I said, college is a liability for real, the way you're about to do it. And she was like, oh, I never thought of it like that. She just wanted to go so bad. I said, yeah, she can go visit and party. Really, really, it's really good parties. I tell you, they're on Saturdays and Sundays. You just find some people off Instagram or Facebook that go there. I'm sure she knows somebody. But she's going to go to her local college. That's what she's going to do. And you're not going to refinance, ma'am, no ma'am. Because then that's how people lose their homes. And now we see parents struggling with Parent Plus loans until they're 70 and 80 years old. So we just got to have that conversation. It's a hard one to have. I'm sorry, but you know.
So I'm glad that you brought that up, because that goes into the conversation that we had before on the last time I interviewed you many years ago, where you hurt my feelings as well as many other people that had the privilege of listening to it. And it goes similar to what we're talking about, which is, if you can't afford to send them, why are you sending them? Now, we as a community, we are taught, and when I say community, I'm talking about Black folks. The only way you're gonna make it is if you go to college and get you an education and learn whoever done taught you, and you need to get this education no matter what it costs. So I'm gonna refinance my house. I'm going to do whatever it takes because I never had that opportunity. Right? So I'm going to be in debt. You're going to be in debt. And what you said was, if you can't afford to send your child to that school, they shouldn't go. And then when I went to go look at my student loans, I was like, where were you, Sonia?
Right.
You might not have been born when I was in college, but I'm just saying, where were you?
Right. But that's the thing. We don't have these conversations. And, you know, it's just so many ways to keep our community and culture in debt. And you're a slave to the lender. So it's like there is no student loan bailout, in my opinion, that's really coming. You see how fast they cut a check for COVID-19, all jokes aside, 1.3 trillion, and there's another one possibly coming. Well, it's only 1.5 trillion for the current economy. So we just writing checks. I mean, but they're not going to do that because student loan debt disproportionately affects African Americans and disproportionately affects African American women. And then there are new laws that were created to keep home buyers that particularly are affected by student loan debt, and I told you that was African Americans, African American women, out of the home buying market. So you like, these things are not by accident, guys. I need people to understand that, because you have other counterparts in other communities that are cash paying, that are setting up wills and trusts. You know, we're thinking about life insurance to only bury somebody. Other communities are thinking about life insurance for then and then some. So I think it just has to be that somebody in our community has to have a hard conversation with people in our community with love, so we can start to see some change. So maybe it's not you that gets out of student loan debt if you're watching this, but maybe it's that your children and your children's children will think that student loan debt is a cuss word. That's what I'm preparing for. Mommy, back in the day, you was a student. I said, what you say at your mom? I'm practicing, Connie. I practice every day.
I just died.
If you say that word in this, I swear on everything. You better say SOD. You better know.
What you said. Oh my gosh. But you know what? That's why you're so necessary, because who's having those conversations with us, Sonia? Look at everybody laughing. Y'all don't be laughing because y'all feel this. Y'all know it. Put some hearts if y'all feel exactly what she's saying, because who's having these conversations with us?
No.
I will be a testimony to it, because I was 100% the kid who barely made it out of high school. I think I had 13 classes my senior year while everybody else just had 3. I had a before, a lunch, and an after school class, right, just for me to be able to graduate on time. But as soon as I got to my community college, it was a line full of people standing out there with credit cards telling me, hey, you need to get this Capital One card. You need to get all. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's free money. And then they're like, oh, yes, just a student loan. You're 18. You're responsible enough to sign your life away. Sign this paperwork. It's fine.
Right.
Why do they treat us like that?
Well, because there are people that prey on us because we don't know. But what I think, what people are, and I just keep sleeping on us, keep what's the word I'm looking for? Keep assuming that particularly the African American community is uninformed. You know what I mean? Because I think that when you have people like myself, the Budgetnista, Tanya Rapley, just to name a few, if you're following any of us and you choose to be ignorant, that's on you. You know what I mean? I can't make you tune into lives. I can't make you take $37 classes. I mean, what else you want to do for free? Like, I serve the avocado, you know what I mean? So, like, what do you want me to do? But the thing is, I need you to want this more than I want it for you. And I can always tell when somebody really, really wants it. For example, Connie, I have an ebook that's on sale right now, right? And what we're not about to do, Connie, is we're not about to 20,000 questions about this ebook that you probably know the answer to. And I've been around and been established, and I pretty much come on and teach every night.
You
So
do.
I just don't be understanding why it be 20,000 questions about something. But then when we go to Chick-fil-A, we order the cost of the ebook. Or when we go shopping, or we're ordering through Amazon, and so where are your priorities at is the question. And I think that we have to move from a society that values things to a society that values assets and education.
Woo!
So we could just get there. You know what I mean? We'll be much better as a people. So I keep hearing people post and talk about Black Wall Street. Well, I'm for it and I'll invest. But here's the problem. We need people that understand how money works before we can have another Black Wall Street, because that's a different generation and a different way of thinking. Those people at that point, they weren't really exposed to credit card debt. That's like 55 years old. Credit card debt is new. So now how do you battle things of let me buy now and get later? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So there's a rewiring that our generation, I would say age 50 and up, has to go through to have a new relationship with money, because our grandparents and older parents did not have to go through that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So you just got to be mindful. Like, you can't even blame your parents and your grandparents for not preparing you, because money now is different than it was for them back then.
Come on, Sonia.
Yeah, people like, my mom ain't never, your mom's sister had this problem. That's your problem. You know what I mean? Like, your mom is not addicted to social media and buying stuff at midnight because they came up with the stretchy tights. Like, that's not, your mom is not on here buying stuff. You are. So it just has to be an honest conversation. And that's where we got to start self-assessing. Like, I don't know enough about what I don't know. I don't know about credit cards. I don't know about credit score. I don't know about these loans. I don't know. And you got to, people don't like to self-assess because it hurts. But would you rather hurt now, or would you rather smile later with a couple million? Does that make sense?
Heck yeah, it does.
So, what do you guys
So I'm so glad you pointed that out, because I don't think we give enough grace to our parents and our grandparents to know that they didn't have the problem. They weren't worried about student loans. They didn't go to college.
No.
They didn't have debt like that. So no, they couldn't teach us about student loan debt and don't do this, because they weren't allowed. They didn't go. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have those opportunities. They had 5. I mean, my great grandmother, she had 11 kids. You didn't have no time for school. You was changing diapers. So they didn't have the same problem. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because I feel like that's a conversation that we're missing, because we love to be able to blame people. We want to be able to say, well, my mama, I wasn't raised this way. And I think at some point you have to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, okay, you were raised like that, but you grown now, baby.
Right.
You're
And
grown.
Assess what we don't know. You know what you don't know. When somebody says, oh, did you get an ROI on this stuff? First off, let me Google ROI. Okay, what else to say? Oh, let me Google what it, like, just go do it. Go figure it out. Stop being in a place of victim. And then when you realize that you can find people in your community that you can trust, like I appreciate what the young lady had just posted, then you do your research on that person, and then you engage, and then you reinvest in yourself. Does that make sense? So I don't know, Connie. I mean, when we met each other initially to now, I just think a lot different, because I've been exposed to wealth. Not rich, but I said wealth. And when I think about my life and what I'm aiming for, I want to be wealthy, period.
Come on and talk about Come on and talk about what you feel the difference, because there's some folks that are like, what you wealthy or different? Let's look at the definition. Tell me what that means for you.
So I think initially when I started off, I was like, oh, I want to be rich. She's like, okay, rich is easy. Okay, ding. I want to be wealthy. You know what I mean? And so you got to decide what you think rich is. What do you think wealthy is, right? And for me, wealthy is investments. Wealthy is money making while you're asleep. Wealthy is you set up your children and your children's children. I mean, children's children not set up, you probably rich. But if your children's children is set up, now we talking wealthy. I don't even have kids and I'm setting them up. Does that make sense? Right now I got a dog that gets what I love, but the account has it just has, kid number 1 on it. And I don't know what kid number 1, if it is going to not come. But then I got godchildren. So the challenge here is, like, when do we move past self, and when do we start thinking about how can we help others? How do we grow our family and friends? And I'm gonna be real with you, Connie. I'm at this stage and age where, you know, I'm going to help everyone I can help, family and friends included. But what I'm not going to do is baby anyone. What I'm not going to do is beg you to get this information. Now those days is done. And then what we're not going to do is not be mad at my success when you can have the same success too. I'm not doing anything super incredulous. I'm up here just literally choosing to read over going out. I'm choosing to travel for new experience versus some shoes. I'm choosing to invest over Chick-fil-A. I'm not doing anything incredulous. I'm just doing the things that wealthy people do. I'm reading what the wealthy read. I'm reading about the wealthy. They are my case study. So for me, I just want to think about, well, I got this time left on earth, because we really don't know the day nor the hour, but you know, I just pray it's a long couple of days and hours, right? I want to know, how do I set myself up? Because here's the thing, Connie. When we at the funeral, we read in obituaries, I don't want somebody to say she was a good person that loved Coca-Cola. I don't like Coca-Cola, but I'm using it as an example. I want you to have an obituary that's about 5 pages long. Yeah, it might be so long, Connie. We just gonna have to send it out to everybody electronically. Yeah,
EPK.
Say it again.
An EPK.
We might, but they don't have technology on their phones that might can hold. So then what I'm gonna have to do is put in my will a printout for 1,000 people, 10 pages, color print. Don't put me no black and white. Doesn't show my features. And what I needed to do is I need to have my professional accolades. I needed to have my personal accolades. And so I know it sounds weird to have these type of conversations and to think like that, but that's how I think, because you are your legacy. You're not your bag. You're not your handbags. You're not your shoes. That's weird. You're not any of those.
You are your legacy. Somebody put that in the chat for me. You are your legacy. Woo!
So, yep. So that's the thing that I'm aiming for. And I feel like people that follow me on IG, that are part of my IG tribe, interact with me, I feel like we're aligned. I feel like we think alike. I feel like that they want the same things that I want for myself. And I don't hold information. I might sell solutions, but I normally give a lot of information for free anyway.
You do.
But the reason why I sell solutions is because people value stuff different. I remember when I started off, Connie, I gave so much free, and nobody
was did.
Up. They wouldn't come or show up. You put a $5 price tag or a $20 price tag or an ebook for $29.99 or a class for $37. Now everybody want to take it super serious because you had to break bread. Okay, well that's what's going to take you to implement it. Then that's fine. But don't be the little weirdo that buys everything and follows me and then don't implement nothing. That's weird. I gotta start calling people out. It's weird. You ain't gonna implement nothing. We're gonna see you here on this page again. You should be coming back on next year. Girl, I'm just following you because I like you, but I brought my friends. Does that make sense? I know my people be looking at me like, this girl, she's doing this and that.
No, because we need these transparent conversations. And that, like, when I say I literally handpick everybody that I had on this podcast, because I feel like these are the kind of conversations, like, we need the raw. Like, I don't need anybody coming on here and saying, entrepreneurship is beautiful and building a legacy is great. I don't need that. I need folks that are busting heads and letting you know what it is, because especially most people aren't surrounded by entrepreneur. Like, even if you just looked in your own city and you just had Neo, you know what I'm saying? If you just had Nehemiah, you would be straight because you guys have each other. But there are still people that are out here that are trying to start a business, that have great ideas, that even have the funding to be able to do it, but they don't have anybody around them to help encourage them. And that's getting into the next part of the conversation. Me and my friend Joy, we talk about our friendship portfolio. When I look at my phone, if I look at the last 10 people, I know I can call everybody that's in that last 10, whether it's Marcus Y. Roger, Madi, Joy, Veronica. I can call somebody and say, yo, I need help. I have a problem that I can't solve. I need a second opinion. But I do understand that everybody doesn't have access to that. So tell me about the importance of having a positive friendship portfolio. And I understand everybody, because that's one of the things we talk about too, is, but they my day ones. They've been my friends since elementary school. Okay, that's cool. And they could be your elementary school friend category.
Right.
But you also have a different category worth of people that you can talk to. So tell me about your friendship portfolio.
So, every year, at the top of the year, I write a list of all my friends and I put a check or an X. It used to be a question mark category, but there's nothing questionable about unloyal people. So you can
Ah,
put,
wait, no, no. Put that in the chat. There's nothing questionable about unloyal people.
yeah. And I write it out every year, and praise God, most people make the cut every year. But everybody doesn't, and that's okay too. Sometimes you outgrow people. Some people are around for a reason or a season. Very few people will enter your life for a lifetime. I'm grateful for when we find those friends that do. So for me, I have to be okay with snipping with love. Don't go ghost on people. But I gotta tell you why, and most times you're gonna understand. And the conversation may go something like, Kyla, I'm just really evaluating our friendship, and I feel like we are growing apart. And I don't know if it's me growing very quickly as a person, or if I have not done something to support you in your growth. But
Mm.
I'm not really comfortable with this friendship because I've had to question it, one or two times. So if I really, really care about the person, I'm going to leave it open ended as to what can we do to resolve or fix. Because I don't like having to walk on eggshells. I don't like feel like I'm in competition with friends. I don't like tit for tatters. I don't play that. So if you gotta get like that or with me or not, or you make me in that feel like that or put me in that headspace, I gotta call a spade a spade. That's it, period. Now, it might be a misunderstanding. It could be a miscommunication. I could be a better friend. And I've had to literally cut a friend off, and she was a sweet girl. It's about a year ago. She said, I don't like your communication style as a friend. She said, I'll call you. She said, and then you don't call right back. Or you'll say, I'll call you back, and then you don't call back till tomorrow. I said,
That was
that's,
a good thing.
I said, well, the people that are in my life know that probably is going to happen depending on my busy season. Um, I feel like if you had said 911 emergency, boom, boom, I might call you at 1 a.m., but you would get a call. But respectfully, I was free at 1 a.m. and I didn't think you were. So I waited till the next day. I said, also, um, I said, I'm not walking around trying to harbor negative feelings or not calling back or engaging you just because, if that makes sense. So we got to get past that. That's what I told the person. And then lastly, I said, where you're at and what you desire in a friendship, I can't provide, and that's okay. That's how we had to end it. I,
Mm.
so I said, no worries. I said, we'll go ahead and pause here. I said, I wish you well. And, she was looking at me like I was going to go back and forth. I will not. I will not. You just told me your friendship communication style, and it doesn't mesh with mine. So I'm not going to be changing anytime soon because there are periods, Connie, where I'm going to go in lockdown in seclusion where I will tell my friends I'm going to be unreachable for the next 3 days. I have a really huge project. If a toe didn't fall off or a fire didn't occur, please know I'll reach out to you on this date, and I always hold my word. Now, you might think that's kind of strange. Like, dang, she just going to go MIA like that? What if I had to tell her about boo-boo and, I don't know. But let me just tell you something right now, Connie. I'm going to always put my goals and dreams and visions before your gossip and tea and you're just needing to be coddled. Okay? I'm not about to do that. So,
I
again,
need some glasses.
so maybe I'm not everybody's ideal friend. And guess what, Connie? That's okay too. You know what I mean? And so that's no feelings.
And let me say this. One of my favorite statements, and my friends know it, is that, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes that's all that there is. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're not comfortable with my friendship style, our communication doesn't work. It's totally, and that's okay. Because
Mm-hmm.
you cannot be everything to everybody. And especially when you're building something that's greater than what they've ever seen before. If you can, and I'll give you an example. I'm in a cabin right now in the woods.
Oh, wow.
And literally I was like, yeah, it's a lot going on in Atlanta, and I have a bunch of client projects that are coming up. I just need to go and disappear for a little while and be quiet. And when I tell you, I don't feel that, oh, my friends are going to feel like I don't love them anymore because they haven't talked. No, it's okay. And that's why when you assess your friendship portfolio, and I love that you do that every year, where it's an actual stop and evaluate who's in my corner. Steve Harvey talked about that. I was at a workshop with him, and he was like, "Yo, I go through my phone every year," and I'm like, "Delete." And if they are, and like you said, that you can't be questionable, and especially if these are people that, if they want to be you, if they admire you, if they're jealous or you feel some type of way there, that's not the phone call you want to make. Those aren't the people you need in your circle.
No. And I would hate for anybody so jealous of me, because I always tell people, you don't know what I've been through to get to this person. You know,
come on, all them jobs.
This person, I didn't post the losses on Instagram. First off, I didn't even story or talk about my life on Instagram until 2018, 19 anyway. I was just posting straight SLD stuff. So like, if you really want to be me, let me just have you go through all of the things I had to go through. I feel like my bubble popped around age 15 when my mom got really sick. Age 15, I'm only child. I had to become the parent. I had to budget her account. I had to talk to the lawyer. Like, do you want to start there? So that's why when people are like, you just seem like, no, this got a lot of guide, a lot of prayers answered, a lot of coverage, and a lot of mental wellness that I work on actively with a therapist and massages weekly. And because, I could be one step away. It's like, oh, Connie, it's over, So for me, because I know these things about myself, I have to be proactive. So I'm like, no, you don't want to be me. You can be inspired by me, but we don't need to trade places. Much like I don't want to be anybody else, to be quite honest. I don't want to go through what you've been through. I've been through enough. This is good. So everything that's coming my way that appears like to be a winning season, you don't understand the private losses. And it's not for you to. That's why they're private. So people are like, oh, it just seems like everything's going. So it just seems, well, I'm praise God that I do a good job with marketing, but you're not supposed to understand.
Come on, y'all. You're not supposed to understand. It's not your journey.
And that's just weird. I think social media makes things too personal sometimes. And then I had to tell my friends in real life, like my friends, it just seemed like, I said, that's what Instagram is for. And if you're not Instagram as a business and really able to profit, then I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I really didn't even want to share that I got the Tesla. That was a personal goal, my Tesla. But the reason
it's lavish too, baby. Because I watched that video. I scrolled back. I was like, come on with the yes.
But true story, somebody hit the back of it today. That's why I had to move stuff around. Oh no, honey, it's fine. My Tesla is built like a tank. Who knew? It has a 5 out of 5. So all I have is a little bit of chip paint, but I'm so proactive that I have a paint kit already waiting for it. I'll just go do it when we get done. And his car in the front all the way crumbled, because who knew that the Tesla really is like a tank? Does that make sense? It's really built like a tank. And then so the car recorded the entire accident. And then I said, so what we about to do? I said, you think you're going to pull off? Or like, because he was acting a little shifty. I said, sir, it's all recorded. Like, everything. I said, are you serious? He said, what kind of car is that? He was like,
it's a Tesla.
Yeah, I said, so what you're going to do is, I said, you're going to give me cash, and I'm going to have somebody just touch up my paint because I don't feel like it. And then you're going to go ahead with your life. And he was like, I said, no, the next person, you're not going to be so lucky. I said, because you shouldn't be driving that car, because he admitted that his brakes are bad. And I see him skipping, trying to stop. And then the car was like, danger. The car said danger. Connie, I'm not being funny. The car said danger. And I said, yeah, I know. It is dangerous. And I got hit.
I agree with you.
So I'm like, Connie, I got to move some stuff today. I didn't get my mind right. I'm fine. But I was just, and then the car I drove off, the lady came over to me and she said, what kind of car is this? She said, your car should be crumpled. I said, child, not for what I paid for it. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. The car was like, you good? I looked at him. I said, sheesh. I said, your car jacked up.
Oh, yeah. And you gonna try and run?
Yeah, I think he was about to, because then I love my black queen. Child, this lady stood in the street, so he couldn't pull off. I said, oh no, ma'am. I said, I already took a picture of his driver's license. Not driver's license. I eventually got a picture of that. I said, I took a picture of his license plate, and then everything's caught on camera. I said, come on off the street. She said, oh. I said, yeah, he could go. I mean, we're going to find him. I mean, ain't that hard to...
I can't wait to find him.
Yes.
He thinks you're not going to know where he is. Come on, Tesla.
Yeah, and then, he's about to make me lose all of my Christianity. But when I actually looked at the car, not to be funny, I was like, oh, ain't nothing wrong with my car. I'm like, yeah, you might want to get that.
You should probably get that. You should probably get that fixed. That's bad on your part.
I have a paint kit. I'm thinking in my head, I got a paint kit in the house, you know. And my friend was like, "You so proactive. Who orders a paint kit ahead of time?" You never know.
You never know.
You never
Come on, Sonia, with the bars. And I know everybody. You couldn't believe that a whole hour has gone by. I already know that.
because I do have calls this evening, but this is so
absolutely. So again, Sonia, I want to thank you. If you could please tell the people how to stay in contact with you.
Yeah.
I know you have books and everything. If you let them know exactly what you have going on.
Yeah, so I would encourage everyone to participate in our current ebook campaign. So it's Slay Your Student Loan Debt. It's 31 days of getting rid of your student loan debt. And it comes with access to a free class. Next week, I'm going to hold 3, the 16th, 17th, and the 22nd. And that information will be sent out after purchase. The ebook is really fun. It's light, but it's tangible with clickable links. A lot of forgiveness programs are included. I'm teaching entrepreneurs on how to get their loans forgiven. I call it the hack. And the thing is, you just got to get to a place where you got to get tired and be tired of your student loans. And of course, right now, concurrently, we're running our Savage Credit Challenge. And I just told people, like, stop trying to be a savage, walking around singing the song, and your credit sucks. You know what I'm saying? That's weird. So just trying to, I know.
Sonia said we can't be no savage if we got bad credit.
No, that's fine. You gotta sit down, go read. Turn off the music.
Sonia, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking this time. For everybody that's listening, please make sure to follow Sonia at the Student Loan Doctor. Make sure you're following me at Connie S. Falls, because the S is for systems. And I look forward to watching your growth. Sonia, you are amazing. God bless you and your business.
Connie, next year, all right? Oh, the book can be purchased in my link tree, or just send me a DM and just say I like the ebook, and then I'll give them the link. That'd probably be easier. That'd be good.
Come on, slide in the DM. She letting y'all slide in the DM, and she gonna reply, and she fancy. Y'all better do it tonight, because tomorrow she may not remember this conversation. Just know.
What's that, Lord?
Right now. All right, everybody. I love y'all. Tune in for next time for Business and BS. Good
Thank
night.
you. Have a good night.
Night.